WBNG-12 Sports presents the Southern Tier Kickoff.
You are looking live, and yes, we are back and better than ever. We welcome you to the Southern Tier Kickoff Show for another year of football this fall. Over the next 14 weeks, we will bring you the best from the gridiron across the 607 and across the entire country. I'm Zach Grady, and I thank you for starting your Saturday morning with us. From Cortland to Cornell, the Orange to the Nittany Lions, and everything in between. Tune in each week and each and every Saturday, all the way up to the College Football Conference Championship games. Plus, the Big Ten is right here all season long on WBNG. 12 Sports and the rest of the team is ready to take you from week 0 to the Big Ten Championship game at Lucas Oil Stadium. But before we get going anywhere, let's meet the rest of the team. Joining me this season, along with Michael Villegas and Keith Savage, will be our own Kevin Quinn and Kyle Spisak. Good morning, guys. Kevin, you ready for another year of football here?
Yeah, I'm ready, Zach. Maybe I should be welcoming you to this show. You know, last year doing this show was a very, very fun part of my week. I'm just excited, you know, the football season's back. Let's get it rolling.
Yeah, you're the vet. I'm the rookie here. We bring in another first-year guy. Kyle, thank you for joining us. How's your morning going here?
It's going great. I mean, the dark cloud that's been over my life since about the second week of January last year goes away this week, so can't wait. College football season's back. Best time of the year.
You mean the XFL and USFL and all the other ones didn't do it for you?
NFL doesn't even count to me.
We have a lot to talk about today, and let's start off with our top games of the day. Of course, those are the ones that mean the most to you here in the Southern Tier. Kevin, what's the big one that people can look forward to tonight?
Well, let's head up I-81 where the Syracuse Orange are hosting the Ohio Bobcats for their home opener. The Orange getting their season rolling as heavy favorites in this one before they host 2 conference opponents in the next 2 weeks. It's the official start of the Fran Brown era at Syracuse this afternoon as the former Georgia defensive backs coach takes over the reins from Dino Babers. The Orange hoping for a winning season, and they need one, finishing with a winning record in just 5 of their last 22 seasons. Their schedule could be their best friend this season, avoiding top ACC teams like Florida State, Clemson, and North Carolina. And some keys to this game. It's the first game for prized Ohio State transfer quarterback Kyle McCord. Get him comfortable in this offense, air the ball out, and good things will happen. The Orange will want to get their star tight end, Rondé Gadsden, involved as well. He can wreak havoc both through the air and on the ground and get out to an early lead, control the football, and dominate this one from start to finish. Ahead of this one, Coach Brown says he's not underestimating the Bobcats.
We just focused on us and just trying to make sure that each and every individual that I could coach it out of them to be the best version of myself, to allow them to be the best version of them. So just trying to coach the best out of each kid. We have a good team coming in the house, coming to play. They're known for taking out Power 4 schools, you know, and being able to win and do a good job. And I think their coach is just, I mean, like I said, guys, he's been coaching since I was 7, so he might have forgot more football than I know.
All right, we're going to make our picks on this game later on this afternoon, or well, later on this morning, as we have about a half hour here. But Kevin, what can we expect? What are you looking forward to in this matchup?
What I'm looking forward to the most is just seeing how Kyle McCord looks under center for the Orange. Hopefully he's comfortable in this one, able to air the ball out. In the last few seasons, the Orange have relied heavily on that ground attack, not really had that prize quarterback under center. People say, you know, he wasn't good enough for Ohio State, but I think he's good enough for the Orange.
All right, Kevin, you're talking about the offensive side of the ball. Kyle, we'll go to you. What did the Syracuse defense bring this year?
Really, they added a little bit of size on the line, which was kind of their big issue last year when they went up against those teams like a Clemson. Really just the size difference. When you're going up against guys who are double your size on the line, it's hard to get to the QB, can't get any pressure on it. Now adding a little bit of size there, and defensive backs as well. They're going to be able to lock down receivers on other teams a lot better this year than they were last year. And really their pass defense was a big problem last year. Clemson really aired the ball out on them like it was nothing, and that kind of was the kicking point for the rough part of their season. And then obviously can't even mention the bowl game last year, which was just a disaster against USF.
All right, Kyle, I will stay here with you. As you had mentioned the defense here, I know the big name transfer is on the quarterback side, on the offensive side, but who knew on the defensive side? What can we look forward to seeing defensively from the Orange this year?
Honestly, I think just really it's more returners than anything else this year. The cornerbacks returning this year, just getting that experience, those reps. They have really just more time that they've been able to learn the system. Fran Brown coming in, he was a defensive guy, really just able to kind of bring this defense back to the standard that they were in, say, 2017, where they did peak at number 12 in the nation, and they were able to shut down other teams, Miami and Clemson those years. Really good games that they battled, and just being able to lock down defense is going to be a huge point for the Orange this year.
Awesome, and I look forward to getting your guys' picks on that game later on this afternoon. But that's not the only one we're looking at. Let's go a little bit south of New York. We're going to go beyond the border to Pennsylvania. Kyle, what can you tell us about the Penn State game that's coming up today?
Yeah, Zach, and the Nittany Lions kick off their 2024 campaign today at noon down in Morgantown, West Virginia, in a rematch of last year's season opener. The Nittany Lions are looking to make a bounce back after ending last year's season on a rough note with a 38-25 loss against Ole Miss in the Peach Bowl. Drew Aller is returning for his third year in the blue and white alongside the 1-2 punch backfield duo of Nick Singleton and Katron Allen. The question at hand, though, is how will the Penn State O-line hold up after losing key pieces like Olu Fashanu to the NFL draft? Morgantown has been buzzing since yesterday, with Pat McAfee getting the Mountaineer fans hyped for big noon kickoff today. Aller has shown some weakness when it comes to big game atmosphere last season, so how will the junior quarterback fare against a rowdy Milan Pusker Stadium today? And now keys to the game for Penn State. They have to buy time at the line. This is a new-looking offensive line for the Lions, and they need to buy time for Singleton and Allen to be able to get through the line. They have to avoid Garrett Green from scrambling, with Green picking up 708 yards on the ground last season for the Mountaineers. And lastly, they need to kill the intensity as soon as possible. Mountaineers fans have been pre-gaming this matchup since noon yesterday. Killing the noise early on will be essential.
Our focus now is directly on West Virginia and making sure that we're in the best position to go win at a place that I got a ton of respect for. I think Neil Brown's done a great job. I think it's a very, very challenging place to play.
All right, Kevin, challenging place to play. Penn State hitting the road, but I mean, come on, whiteout game. College football, they're the #1 place to play, toughest place to play, CFP 25. But what can Penn State expect as they hit the road this weekend?
Well, I think what Penn State can expect, like we saw there, that noise in West Virginia is going to be a problem. This could be one of their tougher road games, especially not in conference this year. But where it really matters for Penn State is picking up these wins early, because once they get into their conference play, those teams, the Michigans, the Ohio States, they've had a lot of trouble with them in the past years. So it's really picking up a game that you should win now, making sure that your season could be set up to potentially make that college football playoff later.
All right, I'm going to follow up there. You mentioned Michigan, you mentioned Ohio State, some of those teams that they've had issues with in the past. There's a lot of new faces as well in the Big Ten this year, especially out on the West Coast. How do you think these long road trips are going to fare for the Nittany Lions?
I think the place that I would be scared to go for any team in the Big Ten is going to Oregon, playing that offense with Dylan Gabriel under center. That's my team that I think everybody should be on the lookout for in the Big Ten this year, because these West Coast teams that are coming in are going to add a whole new layer of competition for these teams that have been playing, year after year.
Kyle, same thing. Where does Penn State most have to worry as you look at their schedule this season?
Ohio State's always going to be the #1 team on their schedule. Michigan taking a bit of a hit from their championship team last year. Ohio State only got better from last year. Will Howard's coming in, taking over the helm from Kyle McCord. But then you have the add of Quinshon Judkins at running back, just outstanding his first 2 seasons at Ole Miss, and he ran Penn State down the middle all Peach Bowl game last year. So they have to watch out for Quinshon Judkins. And then on defense, Caleb Downs joining from Alabama, transferring over, the #1 freshman defensive back in the entire nation last year. You add that onto the defense, it's going to be hard, and especially for a Penn State team that really, the air game has been their problem for the last couple of years. Aller has come in, he is probably the best quarterback that they've had natural talent-wise in the last 5-6 years. But the problem is receivers never are able to stack up against other teams' defensive backs when it comes to Ohio State, Michigan. They just can't get any separation.
No, you mentioned it absolutely. Whether it be Ohio State, whether it be Michigan, it seems like that big game can't be the one that Penn State gets over. Now, big difference, though, this year, not 6 playoff spots. Penn State actually would have made the CFP playoff in most of the last few years if we were in this 12-team format as you see now. So I think that's going to be a big advantage for James Franklin, for the Nittany Lions. It's going to take a little bit of pressure off in those big games. Look, James Franklin still needs to win against Michigan. He still needs to win against Ohio State. And even though they have been a power team, they need some big wins or James Franklin may start feeling the hot seat in Happy Valley. We're going to take a timeout right now, but don't go anywhere. Still ahead on STK. We pick the winners from the biggest games kicking off this weekend. Plus, the Raiders opened up their season last night in New England. We have all the highlights from Colgate's season opener against the Maine Black Bears. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey, Southern Tier, your favorite season is back, and you don't want to miss out.
High school football is here, and 12 Sports has got it all.
It's going to be a huge game, so just playing with that positive mindset and knowing that you have other boys you can rely on and that have your back throughout the game.
Catch up on every team on the way to kickoff.
I love the physicality of it, being a part of a brotherhood.
You'll feel like you're in the huddle as we hear from coaches, players on the rivalries, strategies, and training.
12 Sports is breaking down all of Section 4 as part of our preseason playbooks.
Weeknights on WBNG.
If this is something you want to do, you really have to give 100% to it.
It just requires a compassion and a willingness to learn.
It's constant work, but it really brings the station together.
Because you're always learning, you're always taking tests, learning new things and amplifying and applying, being able to put it out when I'm on scene or something.
The requirements have become more stringent, and that's a good thing. It's leveled up with what you would do if you were on a paid fire department.
When it comes to learning new skills, everybody's helping each other obtain those new skills.
Not everybody has to do all of it. Some fire districts allow you to do just one piece of it.
I'm a tender operator, and I'm able to do what I can do without undue stress.
There's always going to be 911. There's always going to be an emergency. You have to have that type of personality where you really do enjoy helping people.
If I'm not willing to be that person, then how can I expect somebody else to be that person?
Washington Media Scholars Foundation, proudly celebrating over 15 years of empowering college students through scholarships, career opportunities, and industry connections. Compete for over $150,000 in scholarships and an all-expense-paid networking trip to Washington, D.C. Connect with top media companies, enhance your media skills, and advance your career. Visit mediascholars.org to learn more.
What kind of lawyer are you? An honest one.
A man is beaten to death right outside a police bar.
We keep our mouths shut. He can't touch us.
You've got to try to turn everyone away from darkness toward the light.
61st Street. New episode this Monday at 9/8 Central on the CW.
Oliver Wendell Douglas, man of few words.
Oh, for the love of... Oh, for the love of...
Oh, for the love of me TV.
Oh, for the love of...
Weeknights on Binghamton's Me TV.
The Southern Tier Kickoff.
The Penn State Nittany Lions, they head down to Morgantown to face West Virginia. What will the weather be like for the game? Let's take a look. We are looking at the potential here, seeing similar weather to what we're going to be experiencing here across the Southern Tier. And, yeah, it's going to be an interesting game, to say the least. Starting off, it's going to be hot and humid, looking at temperatures in the mid-80s. But then you'll notice as we head on into halftime in the fourth quarter, the potential for some thunderstorms and rain does appear. And keep in mind, if there's any lightning, that game will get delayed. By the fourth quarter, looking like it's going to be widespread showers and storms. If you're watching the game, just be wary. We might see some delay time in the action.
All right, thank you, Connor, for that report. There's an old saying, when you have two quarterbacks, you don't really have one. Well, Colgate has 3 quarterbacks, and the Raiders feel great about all of them. The trio finished up 2023, winning 4 of the team's last 5 games and capturing Colgate its first top 25 victory since 2018. Raiders open up the new season in Orono, looking to tame the Maine Black Bears in a non-conference matchup. Raiders looking for their first win on the road to open up the season since 2017. Second quarter, Michael Brescia off the play fake. He finds Winston Moore between 3 Black Bears defenders. Moore is off to the races. The sophomore gets it all the way down to about the 2.5-yard line. Brendan Casamajor to get the 6 to finish the drive here. The senior with 6 carries for 24 yards, including this one. That put the Raiders up 7-0. The Black Bears, though, would score 17 unanswered points before Colgate would push back for the comeback in the 4th. Brescia here with the RPO. The senior lowering the boom, knocking helmets off on his way to the end zone. He had 74 rushing yards with another 174 in the air. The Colgate comeback would fall short, though. Raiders head back home after the 17-14 loss.
And many of our other Southern Tier teams are not in action this weekend, but the start of their season is just around the corner. Hartwick will open their season at home next Saturday versus Maine Maritime, and next Saturday is also the home opener for the defending Division III national champion Cortland Red Dragons as they'll host Hilbert College.
The Ithaca Bombers are also opening up their season next Saturday. They'll do so on the road at Johns Hopkins, and for the Cornell Big Red, they'll have to wait until September 21st to kick things off. That one on the road versus Colgate. And stay tuned on WBNG for the CBS game of the day. The Big Ten kicks off this afternoon at 3:30 with Ohio State taking on Akron. Ohio State enters the season as the #2 seed in the nation, going 10-2 last season, and the Zips will look to upset the Buckeyes again. That game kicks off at 3:30 this afternoon, right here on WBNG.
And stay with us, because just around the corner, we have all of our predictions when it comes to the games that matter this weekend. Stick around. The Southern Tier Kickoff Show will be right back.
I'm 12 News Chief Meteorologist Howard Manges. We are in severe weather season. Now is a perfect time to download the WBNG Storm Track 12 weather app. Just scan the code on your screen now. You'll get interactive radar, custom alerts, and real-time updates from the 12 News First Alert weather team. All features you won't get on just any ordinary weather app. Most importantly, the Storm Track 12 weather app will help keep you safe when severe weather is a threat.
Drenched. Next Inside Edition, our female reporters singled out for bucket attacks. It keeps happening.
Some people are calling the player who drenched you a jerk.
Then, you've heard of quiet quitting. This is live quitting.
I quit.
Making the announcement on social media.
No, I quit.
Quitting your job as it happens. Watch the next Inside Edition
at 7:30 p.m. on WBNG.
At WBNG, we know you're busy, which is why we're here whenever you need us, anytime, anywhere. Let us be the first to bring you breaking news, local sports coverage, and first alert weather. Just search WBNG wherever you stream and catch up on all things 12 News.
This is Avery Copeland with Around the Tiers.
Yeah, it's amazing what a little bit of sunshine will do, right?
Welcome back and welcome into the Sports Desk. I'm Zach Grady.
All for free and on your schedule. WBNG, anytime, anywhere.
Imagine a place where animals and children can both reach their full potential. Together, at Callie's Clubhouse, we repurpose and rehabilitate older horses to be a guiding light and therapeutic nourishment for people experiencing health, social, and life changes. With professionally trained and certified instructors, we utilize real horsepower to facilitate positive learning outcomes with a variety of programs, such as therapeutic riding, where individuals with disabilities can experience movement on a horse. I Talk with Horses, a riding program where low and nonverbal children practice their communication skills. I Read with Horses, where young readers can receive new books and expand their literacy. The 7 Keys to Success, a program where youth can design a civic engagement project to share with their community, learning key leadership skills along the way. These programs, along with the dedication of our staff and horses, prove to be a wonderful source for enrichment and education for people of all ages. Learn more at calliesclubhouse.org.
It's time to put together your team for the 42nd annual Chow Walk. Ask friends and family to join you on September 21st at the Oakdale Commons from 12 to 4 p.m. to help put a stop to hunger in Broome County. And bring your children for fun family activities throughout the mall. Thanks to your generous donations, Chow distributed 3.2 million pounds of food to families last year, and our goal is to continue the trend of helping those around us for years to come. Go online to broomecouncil.net for sign-up information. The Chow Walk, September 21st at the Oakdale Commons.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER if you are a Pennsylvania resident, or call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY if you are a resident of New York. Please gamble responsibly. It's that time of the week again. Yes, this is for entertainment purposes only, but you do whatever you want with the picks that we're about to give you for the biggest games this weekend. All right, we're going to start off right with number 2 in the country as they kick off in just a few moments. This is, or actually, sorry, they kick off at 3:30. This is the big game on WBNG here today. Ohio State versus Akron. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I got my Ohio's messed up. We are starting with Ohio and Syracuse. We talked about it earlier in the A block. Ohio, a -18 dog. I'm going to go ahead and take the point. I don't think they're going to win outright, but that's a good team, and they always fight with Power 5s. They've beaten a few along the way. I'm taking the 18 points. Kevin?
I got to take the orange here. I know the spread is a little big, but my thought here is this new look orange offense, this new look team, that Fran Brown energy, they're going to want to bring the energy. They're not just going to want to win today. A win's not good enough for them. They're going to need to win big to set the tone for the season.
Like the pick?
And I'm going to have to go with the orange as well. I mean, Ohio had a good season last year, going 10-3. They do put against big Power 5, well, former Power 5 teams, but I don't know, a MAC team, I don't think they're going to be able to come in with Syracuse coming in with McCord, LaQuint Allen coming into his second year, and bringing in Zeed Haynes from Georgia. It's going to be too good of an offense. They won't be able to keep up with it.
All right, we got Syracuse over there. I'm on Ohio, and our producer, Aaron, as well, making picks. He is going to go ahead with Syracuse, so I am the odd man out. We'll move on to the next game. That's going to be Florida and Miami. Florida. No, I'm sorry. We are going Penn State. Penn State. I got my papers out of order. Don't worry. I've been trying to put my picks in myself here in between the commercial breaks before kickoff. So we're going to go Penn State, West Virginia. We talked about it again a little bit earlier. I like Penn State. I'm going to go ahead and lay the 8.5 points. I think they end up covering late. Probably be close all game. Fourth quarter, maybe get that 10 points. Kevin, what do you think?
I got to go with Penn State as well to cover. I think the key for them is going to be to get out to an early lead, quiet that noise at West Virginia, and then just hopefully smooth sailing the rest of the way.
And I'm going to go with Penn State as well. The thing with Penn State is they have a good offense. It depends how quick they get things going. Obviously, offensive line has some issues, but the Big 12 is notorious for not having the greatest defense in the nation. And last year, Penn State really just ran the ball all over them, and they won't be able to cover that spread.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, let's keep moving through these. We're going to go to the big game of the day on WBNG. That is Akron and Ohio State. This is a big number, -48.5. I don't think that Akron's got the firepower, though. I think Ohio State will show, especially with that 1-2 punch in the backfield. They're the best team in the country. I like Ohio State. I'll lay the 48.5. What do you think?
See, this is where we get a little tricky. Like you said, that 1-2 punch, one of the best backfields in the country. But at the same time, when you're playing a heavy underdog like this with that big of a spread, that 1-2 punch, they're just going to chew the clock. You know, they'll get a couple scores. They're just going to be running. I don't think they get quite to 48.5. Maybe, you know, Ohio State's going to win by 30-plus points, but the 48.5 just seems like a little much for me.
And Ohio State's obviously going to win this game. I think that they do cover the spread, because even if they get off to a quick lead, they decide to put in the backups. Your backup's still Julian Sayin, who transferred over, or flipped from Alabama to Ohio State. He was the #1 quarterback recruit coming in. So no matter what, you get to test it either with a 5-star quarterback. Will Howard gets his first shot in Ohio State, and that running back duo. Arkansas put up 70 the other night. Ohio State's going to cover.
All right, Kevin, you're the odd man out on this one, as our producer Aaron also on Ohio State. We move to an interstate matchup, a battle of the Sunshine State, Miami at Florida in the Swamp. Florida +2.5. Look, these two teams are pretty similar. Graham Mertz versus Cam Ward, I think a great quarterback matchup. And they're both fighting for the legacy that is what they used to be. Miami in the 80s, Florida in the 90s, and then in the 2000s. Both of these teams are trying to get back to that. And both of the coaches, whether it's Mario Cristobal or Billy Napier, are on the hot seat. This is year 3 for both of them. They need to go ahead and get a marquee win. I'm going to take the value. I like Florida plus 2.5. I will take the home dog. I think it's going to be hard for Miami to come in and beat them in the Swamp. Kevin?
Zach, this is where I'm going to have to disagree with you. I think this is going to be a Miami win, not just to cover. It's hard to cover when you get into the 2.5s per se. You know, you don't see a whole lot of 1 or 2 point games in college football. But I think Miami just stronger in the trenches, and that's what's going to matter in a close game like this.
I mean, Cam Ward coming in is a huge bonus for Miami. Great season at Washington State last year. I think it's too hard to go into the Swamp. First game of the year, you have a rivalry. Those fans are going to be loud. They're going to be crazy. I think it's too hard to go into the Swamp and take that win. I'm going to take Florida.
All right, awesome. And that's split right down the middle as Aaron is on Miami. We move to Clemson, Georgia. This one kicking off in Atlanta, but that's basically a home game for the Dogs. Minus 12.5. I like Georgia. I don't think Clemson is very much. Let's get through these real quick. What do you got?
For me, I am also going to have to agree with you here, Zach. It's got to be Georgia. The Dogs, just the stronger team.
And Kyle?
And it's going to have to be Georgia. The last time these teams faced off was in 2021. It was a 10-3 win for Georgia. Very different teams now. JT Daniels with Georgia back then. DJU was for Clemson. But I don't know if Cade Klubnik is that guy down at Clemson. Carson Beck's proved himself at Georgia, and Georgia's just too good of a team. They're gonna win. Not by much, but they'll take the win.
Awesome. And we picked 2 more games as well. We picked USC versus LSU, as well Notre Dame, Texas. You can go ahead and find those picks on our WBNG website as well all season long. Stay tuned as our competition heats up between the 3 of us. As you see, our producer Aaron, as well the rest of the 12 sports team, Michael Villegas and Keith Savage, will be joining us with our picks. Plus, find us on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook to submit your picks. You tell us you think we're right, we're wrong, or see how you stack up against the competition. But that is going to wrap up the first edition of the Southern Tier Kickoff. I want to thank Kyle. I want to thank Kevin for being a part of it. I want to thank our producer and our director as well. And I want to thank you for joining us here on this Saturday morning. Kickoff coming up in about 15, 14, 13. That's right, the Big Ten right here on CBS. Get ready for it. Enjoy your Saturday, and we will see you next week.